I was having another night's sleep. A thunderstorm raged outside. Feeling pretty crabby about how fancy my bedroom had become. It's just not my style. I woke up, had a garden tea, followed by a beer. Nothing like a beer at 3 a.m. I planned out myself. Nice little bedroom. I was grinning from ear to ear while thinking about it. Something simple. Something nice though, but not fancy. I had some traps to build. I had a bunch of blocks around, so I started working on the bedroom. It didn't take too long. I had the walls up. I was running pretty short on steel though. I was gonna have to figure that problem out. The power went out and I couldn't have that. Without my hauling robot, it's gonna be more work for me around here. Got to work on my door for the bedroom. About that time, my rice came due. With winter approaching, I was gonna have to get that stuff taken care of. Man, I missed that hauling robot. He was a good companion. Not so good as Hamlet, I guess, but darn close. I plucked rice all day. Got a pretty sizable stack going. Decided I'd better get that stuff hauled in when I was done. It was still raining on me. Wasn't much I could do for that. Got the rice put away. Had myself a little bit of pemmican. And then decided to pluck a little more rice. Wasn't tired enough for bed yet. But around about 9 o'clock, decided to hit the hay. One of my muffalo went feral around that time. I was debating on letting him go, or taming him back up. In the end, I decided to get him tamed up. While I slept that night, an alpaca became pregnant. I was going to have to work with all these animals lest they all go feral on me here. It's unfortunate. It's going to take a lot of time, but it was what it was. If I didn't want to lose them all, I was going to need them to haul supplies when I approached that spaceship. I might need them for food at some point over there too. So I decided to spend some time working with the muffalo and the alpacas rather than gather up steel and deal with my rice. So I trained animals, occasionally stopping for a beer. I was running a little short on beer as it was, but it was what it was. I was thinking about that bedroom I was going to build, but I couldn't really start until I got myself some steel. Spent pretty much the whole darn day working with animals. There's adults, there's babies, there's all kinds of these critters to deal with. It was a whole lot of busy work, just running around, debating on whether or not this is a good use of time or not. But again, my new home, I was going to need blocks, other stuff. I sat down to play some chess right about the time some space chunks flew out of the sky. I just kept on doing what I was doing, but I made a note that there's going to be some steel for me. Chess just isn't the same alone. I'd worked on so many strategies I never got to try. When I was done with that, it's back to training alpaca. So many of these darn things about. But I was having good success. After working with them, I was off to bed about 11 o'clock. When I woke up, decided to break apart that steel, followed by doing some mining on some more. I was going to need to get this bedroom done. At the risk of becoming pretty crabby by overworking myself, I set to mining, and that's what I focused on. I was about as hungry as a guy could get once I was done with all the mining. I grabbed up as much steel as I could, ran on back to my house, decided to work with a muffalo, and I tamed that guy that went feral on me, so that was good. Had myself some pemmican after that. I was getting pretty darn good at dealing with these animals, that's for sure. It's pretty much like a zoo around here, tell you what. Once again, I was going to spend a whole day dealing with these things. If I could get them all tamed up once again, that'd be just fine. Might be easier to let them all go feral and then retame them. They seem to take to it better that way. I rebuilt my traps, got to working on my heater, my cooler, and my floors in my bedroom. I had more components than a guy could use, so that was alright. I was gonna have to move my bed, save myself the trouble having too nice of a bedroom. And it didn't take long. The bedroom was done, and I got my bedroll moved in there. Buffalo became pregnant about that time as well. I built the power cables running out to my storage shed in case I should get a trade ship and want to run my beacon out there. They could see what I had in those spaces. Worked on the rice a tiny bit, and it was back to Muffalo work, followed by more rice. I was getting close to having all the rice dealt with. And I was off to bed 10 o'clock that night. I was a little bit hungry, but I was happy with the way my new room had turned out, so I couldn't complain about that. When I woke up, it was pemmican time. One of my alpacas was getting attacked by a cougar. It was one of the babies, and it didn't stand up. More than a couple slashes before it was dead. Well, despite the frustration I was having with these animals, I was right mad about it. I was going to butcher that baby animal up. First I was going to see if I could kill this cougar though. I can't have my animals falling prey to anything. So I grabbed my gun, went on out and gave it the business. Fortunately, I killed it before it decided to kill me. And then I hauled it back in. Decided I was going to have to make some pemmican here. That's what it was going to have to be about. My power was a little low. Turns out I couldn't use my stove. I decided to have a beer instead, because why not? The temperature was decent. I thought maybe I could turn off some of my air conditioners, see if I could get enough juice together, run this here stove. Turns out it didn't work though. Given the temperature, the ACs weren't pulling any juice as it happens. I was back to working with the Muffalo after that. That's what I focused on for quite a while. There was a wolf running around. I'm pretty sure he was going to be trouble for some of my animals at some point as well. I needed to get more steel together though. I was going to have to build myself a second generator. Sadly, it was going to have to be wood powered. But fortunately there were lots of trees around, so I wasn't terribly worried about it. I had a decent stockpile of wood going as well, so I mined. While doing so, a bulk goods trader showed up. That left me pretty happy. I ran on in, tossed some horseshoes for a minute. Feels good to do something normal. Robot trader also showed up about that time. That made me extremely happy, except then my power went out before I could call him. That wolf started hunting one of my alpacas about that time as well. I just wanted to get these people on the horn here. Told all my animals to come on inside, but it was too little too late. That wolf got a hold of that baby alpaca, did him in. So I called the trader, decided I was going to sell off all the alpacas, buy some more Muffalo, sell off all the extra leather and hides that I had laying around. Buy a bunch of steel though, that'd save me having to mine a ton of it. Then I called that robot trader, and what do you know, they had some hauling robots. Best money I could spend for sure. They had something called an AI Persona Core, but that was way out of my price range. They had a great price on gold and steel as well, which was pretty intriguing. I debated it, not sure what to do. In the end, decided I was going to need a ton of steel. And I had a ton of gold, silver I was never going to do much with. So I bit the bullet, made the purchase. Also bought myself a fancy coat. Decided I was going to have to kill that wolf pretty soon too. That was going to be next priority. He ate that whole baby alpaca. I didn't get a single bite out of it. So I ran on out. Accidentally shot my wall. But didn't take much. I'm a real crack shot with this gun at this point. I had to get my new hauler robot set up as well. Get some of the stuff I had laying around put inside. Man, I was so excited to have a new hauling robot. I couldn't tell you. I had some pemmican. Hamlet needed some attention as well, but getting this hauler going, that's gonna be huge, man. Repaired the wall I'd shot. My power was a little low yet, so my robots couldn't do their thing. I decided I was gonna cook, at least get some of this meat laying around used up. And I was off to bed. I'd butcher that wolf in the morning if nothing else got a hold of it. When I woke up, a little bit of food was in order, followed by working with Hamlet. And the hauler robot started doing his thing, which was pretty fantastic. All the junk I'd bought got put away. I chopped down some trees so I could build another generator. Got working on that. After that, I was going to have to cook for a bit. Didn't want this animal going bad. Be sad if he went to waste, so it was high time I did some cooking by then. The hauler robot's helping me out, getting some supplies brought all around. I had to get this guy trained up a little bit. Turns out he's putting stuff in the wrong spot. But he'll get it figured out. I'll get it figured out when I tell him what to do anyways. So I cooked. I had lots of meat laying about. And I had a ton of rice as well for the minute. Picked up all my meat, tossed it down in my cooking area. Eventually got it over there anyway. Once again, I was worried it was going to go to waste. So I told the hauler robot where to put it, had myself some pemmican, and then I started cooking. I already had a fair amount of pemmican sitting around, but more certainly wouldn't hurt. I spent the rest of that day not doing a lot other than cooking, wishing my cleaning robot would come through and clean up my cooking area. Got through all the meat that I had. Decided I was going to do a little bit of cloud watching at that point. I got trampled by a muffalo not once but twice. Didn't seem to hurt me though. He was a real soft-footed fella. Had some pemmican. And then I had to deal with the rest of this rice. Lest it go to waste. It's nice being able to just leave stuff laying around as you go off to bed and know that when you wake up, it'll all be picked up. Another robot trader came by when I was sleeping. I decided to give him a call just to see. He had a good price on steel once again, but I was sitting on quite a bit of that at this point. Decided not to buy anything from this fella. And I was back to doing rice when I woke up. Despite it only being 3 a.m., it was nice to be out and about, doing some solid work. Got that all handled, got it all put away. And I had some trees to chop down. I was going to acquire a little more wood, seeing as I was using it to power everything around here. Wouldn't hurt to have a decent stockpile. Turned my ACs back on since they weren't pulling any juice anyway. Considering it was extremely cold out, well below freezing, I was thinking it might be time to get on to the research as I had myself a beer. I was running pretty short on beers and I was getting a little nervous about it. There wasn't much I could do. I had some meat, so I did a little more cooking. Decided it was going to be research time here. And that's what I sat down to do. Get some research done. I worked on it for quite a while, occasionally stopping, deal with some animal issues. But my main focus here is going to be figuring out this whole geothermal thing. There's free power right there. I don't have to be constantly refueling it. So I have to figure out how to leverage it. The last of the rice came due, despite the cold. I was making pretty slow progress. Decided to head off to bed for the night. There was a psychic drone on, buzzing in my ear, making me kind of pissed off in all honesty. Put a spot up for Hamlet to see if I could get him to come sleep in the room where it was warm. He didn't seem to care too much though. When I woke up, I was right back to research. Just chugging along, seeing what I could get done. Occasionally I'd stop for some food, mess around with my chess pieces. Once again, sure would be nice to have somebody to play chess against. After chess, it was time to milk some muffalo. Just leaving milk everywhere. Decided maybe I'd haul it in. Saved the hauler robot a little effort. Then I was back to research. It was snowing pretty solid outside. I had to run around out there, deal with some muffalo. Some more space chunks fell out of the sky, which is pretty solid. Certainly can use the steel if it's going to be free. So I worked with the muffalo, trying to get them all trained up. Then I ran on over to deconstruct those ship chunks. At that time, a female fell out of the sky. Pretty freaky though, being that she was a cannibal. I don't have much room for cannibals in my life, so I think I'm just gonna let her lay. I don't think I could sleep well with her around. Always wondering if I'd wake up in the stew pot or not. I got the ship chunks broke down. She was wearing some decently nice clothes, so I decided maybe I'd just take them off her. World would be a better place with one less cannibal in it, as far as I was concerned. She had some drugs on her as well, which I was hesitant to get involved with myself, but might come in useful at some point. When I got back, it was 8 o'clock. I sat down to do some more research. My robots are charging up, making a happy little buzz noise. Despite that buzzing in my ear, I was off to bed. 10 o'clock that night. All my animals come running in, trying to hit the hay. It's nice not having so many alpaca around. The buffalo carry more, probably eat more, but oh well, there's a lot of food about. And if I had to butcher them up at some point, it was what it was. One of my generators had taken out. I was going to have to repair that. I was chasing a muffalo around, trying to get him tamed up. He was eating all the berries in sight. It wasn't too much of a problem for me. I fixed my generator at that point. I had myself a beer. There's only going to be 2 left, which is pretty sad, but maybe someone would come along to sell me some. I'm sitting down to research. Decided I'd put on my fancy coat finally. That might cheer me up a bit. Working with animals, having a little food, getting back to research is what the day entailed. About that time, some fella contacted me. It was a mafia boss, saying she's being chased. I don't want nothing to do with no mafia boss. She got herself in that situation. She can get herself out of it. I just kept right on researching. It was bedtime, about 8 o'clock again. Temperature wasn't terribly cold as winter began that night. Below freezing, but it'd certainly been worse. Between Hamlet and my hauling robot, all the stuff laying around is getting put away, so that was fantastic. I woke up, got right back to doing some research at 3 a.m. once again. I guess why not? Stopped to have some food. Another fella came flying out of the sky. This fella was also a cannibal. I decided I was just going to keep my distance. He had some crazy cannibal hair going. I didn't trust that guy as far as I could throw him, which wouldn't be too dang far. So I had a beer, leaving myself only one, and then I got back to research. I was making decent progress. At that time, them crazy big thrumbo creatures showed up, along with more spaceship chunks. Turns out, there was a bunch of them laying around still, so I was going to have to get out there, get on top of taking those apart. My steel supplies had actually grown for a change, since nobody had been over here setting off all my traps. I ran on out, take these ship chunks apart, and they were laying all over the place. I got one done, decided I was going to run back in, but after having come so far, perhaps I'd better stay focused on the task at hand. So that's what I did. There were dead critters around I could certainly use for food, so I made a note of that. I could get Hamlet, maybe that robot, to drag them in. That'd be nice. There was medicine laying around, but I wasn't too concerned with it since I had a decent little supply of that. I carried in what I could. About that time, bulk goods trader showed up. It was a caravan for once, which is pretty nice. Be somebody to talk to. I had one beer left, and that didn't make me too happy, as I was tossing horseshoes, wondering what I was going to do. That caravan was hanging out. Decided maybe I'd better get on over there and chat with them before they decide to take off. So I gave up the horseshoes. I bought a ton of meat off these guys, sold a bunch of wool, some clothing I had laying around. Ran on inside, had myself a meal. Worked with a bunch of muffalo. I was hoping all my food would get carried in by that hauling robot. I butchered up a creature I found laying about. Debated on what to do next. I suppose all the food's gonna have to be hauled. Can't have meat laying around outside for too long with these kind of critters around eating it. So I dragged it all inside. It's pretty cold out. It's not like it was gonna go bad or anything. But there's no reason to let it turn gross on me. I was gonna get a mountain of pemmican out of this, that's for sure. But for now, it was gonna be bedtime. The caravan is getting pretty comfortable coming in and out of my house. I guess that's alright. When I woke up, I had some food. Watched Hamlet eat some of my meat, which didn't bug me at all. And I worked on making pemmican. That caravan took off, some of them faster than the others. I drank my last beer. Sadly, they didn't have any beer, else I would have purchased a bunch of it. I had a grizzly bear self-tame while I was cooking all that food. He probably smelled that pemmican cooking, just couldn't resist. I was unsure what to do about that, but I guess the more the merrier. He seemed pretty fierce. I might be able to train him to take somebody out for me, at least distract some people, so I wouldn't get killed. Poor guy. At least he'd be well fed. He showed up, found himself a bed. I was long asleep by then. Hauler robots going nuts, flying all around, carrying stuff back and forth. The animals are going on in and eating my pemmican, so I had to put a stop to that. Nothing like a little coated door. When I woke up, I was right back to cooking. Stopping to eat once in a while, but trying to stay focused, getting these meals done up. I was almost there. Shouldn't take too much longer. I took a break, muck about with the chess table. Hamlet ate the rest most of the meat that I had. But again, oh well. I was sitting on so much pemmican at the minute, I was pretty comfortable. I was back to research for a bit, with rice laying all around. I was gonna take a break, doing all this cooking, spend some time working with the muffalo, but trying to stay focused on research in general. Wondering when I was gonna get some more beer in me. Starting to get the shakes, but not too bad. I was getting there with the research. These darn muffalo are running everywhere. That bear's hanging out. While I was researching, a bunch of jerks came flying out of the sky, decided they were going to besiege me. Seems like a lot of effort on their part, but hey, I guess it is what it is. So I ran on out, gun in tow. Debated on putting on my armor, but I think I'll get the better of these jerks without it. And I was trying to save it. At some point I was really going to need it, so off I ran. They had all kinds of supplies falling out of the sky. It's got me a little bit excited, in all honesty. All I had to do was deal with these jerks and I could claim their stuff. So I hid behind a hill, giving some of them the business as I could. They were just out of range, though. I didn't want to draw too much attention. When they'd come close, I'd give them the old pow pow. Decided maybe I'd sneak up a little bit closer here. It's going to be necessary if these jerks continue to hide from me. So far, no one even bothered to shoot back at me. It's pretty entertaining. Fish in a barrel over here, man. So I shot. One of them finally got the thought that I was over here. came over and started popping shots at me. But she didn't have any luck. I decided I better get out of there once a few of them came over. Started shooting like mad, but they all missed, which is well fortunate. The last thing I need is to get shot up again. So I snuck about like a thief in the night. Juliet got shot. I'd already plugged Lady full of holes pretty good. They decided to give up. They weren't sure what was going on or where I went. I shot Juliet and down she went. Whole rest of them decided they were going to come get me at that point. I decided I'd better bugger off. They were taking pot shots, but not having any luck. They left all kinds of good supplies laying about. They'd even built a mortar. Well, that'd be pretty useful if I could get it moved, but I have to worry about that later once I deal with these jerks. Some fella with a knife was giving chase to me. I decided I better run on into safety, at least get close before I turn around. Might get myself shot up. Managed to catch him a bit when I saw nobody was right behind him. Running through this mud ain't the fastest thing. It was mostly frozen though, so that was alright. I kept right on chugging. That dude I'd shot, the one carrying the knife, he was pretty well beat up. Maybe I could bring him down. Where's that stupid grizzly bear when I need him? He should be dealing with these jerks. One of them got close. I gave her the business. And that fella with the knife started creeping too. Sadly, I kept missing him. But down he went eventually. Some dude had a big old incendiary launcher. Decided I'd better not get close to that fella. When I got inside, I said to heck with it. I was just gonna go inside and see if I could keep my hauling robot from getting itself schmucked up again. And one of those guys died on my traps. About that time, the rest of them decided they'd better skin on out of here before something bad happens to all of them. They left me a lot of nice stuff. I was pretty happy for that. Seemed like a pretty piss poor example how to go about sieging someone. You let one guy go ahead and destroy your whole day. Bunch of morons if you ask me, but they had a bunch of sandbags laying about, and I was going to go and deconstruct those. I was going to see about claiming that mortar, and they left a bunch of shells for it. Couldn't complain about that. Juliet was laying there. I was going to take her clothes off her too. Not in a creepy way. She just didn't need them anymore. I wasn't going to let her get back up on her feet. For the minute though, I was off to bed, sleeping pretty cozy, knowing all was safe and secure for once. Despite the best efforts of all those jerks, they couldn't get in, do me any damage. They didn't even get to kill any of my animals. So that's fortunate. On the morrow, I'd pick up all the junk they left around. My hauler robot got Juliet stripped. That's pretty entertaining. Maybe they'd get all the crap hauled in for tomorrow. She wasn't going to last till morning. That was fine with me. Another day was passing, and I was feeling alright. Continue to focus on research. I was sitting on a mountain of Pemmican. Not sure how much is going to get me by, but should be good for the minute.